In this video, I'm going to show you how to fold braided paper designed by Nolan. Diagrams can be found in his book Creating Origami, which has just been reprinted. Now, the book features diagrams for some fabulous models. You can see an overview here, there's a ton in there, but it also has some essays on how JC designed his models, how he approached designing origami models, and how you too can dive into that world of designing. This makes up about 1/3 of the book, and the remaining 2/3 is diagrams. So there's really a bunch of stuff you can see. This is quite a heavy book. Now, if you start with a sheet with a side length of 24 centimeters or 9.5 inches, then the resulting model will have a side length of about 8.5 centimeters, and it's going to be square again. You can see that here, or that's about 3 3/8 of an inch. I recommend you use paper that has the same color on both sides, but for clarity I'm going to use paper that is white on one side and in this case orange on the other. So if you too are using paper that's white on one side, start with the white side up. Then we're first going to form a windmill base. For this we're going to fold in half horizontally and crease, unfold, rotate, and again crease horizontally. And unfold. Then bring the raw edge to the crease you just created. Rotate and do the same thing with the other raw edge. Unfold, rotate, and repeat that same step again. And unfold. Now flip over the paper, and we're going to make creases that are blintz folds, so they go exactly through an intersection of these quarter creases. Or you're bringing this point to the center, but really the important thing is that you actually go through exactly that intersection. And you repeat that on all 4 corners. Then unfold, flip over, and now we're going to collapse the windmill base. For this, we're first going to fold in one section here, and we're going to go 3/4 of the way, and same here. And then you'll have this section popping up, you can see here, and you just squish that down. And then the same here, you've got 1/4, the second, and the third. So 1/4 is free, and you push that up and you collapse that section down. And on the final one, kind of open up a bit, push that in, you can see this, and squish down. And that's your windmill base. Now we want to collapse the corners of this windmill base, so I'm going to flip this over and then bring each of the points to the center and make a strong crease, because you're using several layers of paper here, and all of them need to have a neat crease. So I'm using this area of my thumbnail, not the tip, but kind of that wide section, to make a strong crease. And unfold. Now, on each of these corners you're going to collapse the whole thing, so I'm just going to open this up a bit, and you'll see that the creases you just made, you made it here, they are also on the other layers, and they form this square. We want to make all of those folds into mountain folds, just changing the direction of the creases so that you can actually see that whole square right there. and then these diagonal folds are going to be valley folds. So I'm going to take my hand here, and I'm going to, with my index finger, push in so that it collapses down into a valley fold. And I'm doing that on both sides at the same time. And then also pinching this together, pinching that together to sink that corner completely. So you can see before it was a corner like this, and now it's inside looking like that, collapsed inside. So let's repeat that with the next one. We're going to open up a bit, make mountain folds all around the square, pushing from inside to get that crease to pop out, and then ensuring that those diagonal folds are valley folds all the way around, and collapsing it down. And do that with the other two corners too. So once you've done that, you have the final size of the model actually. This is going to be the final size. And now we're going to work on the decorative part, the braided part of that braided paper. So for that, we're going to always work on these, you can see these sections here and here, and they're a little hidden, but we can open it up quite nicely. So if we have one of these triangles, we're first going to work on one side. So I'm going to open one side so that this triangle is fully visible. And I'm just going to zoom in on that. So now we've zoomed in, as you can see, this is the corner, and I opened one side to make visible the other side. Now we're going to take this edge down here. There's two layers to it, and while pushing the two layers together, we're going to crease that edge over to this crease line. So you take this edge and you fold it up to the crease line. I'm trying not to hide too much, but it's in the inside of the model, so I hope it works out okay. Then you're going to take this edge and fold it to that edge you just created. I'm going to rotate this so hopefully you can see. Taking the edge and folding that section in half. Quite a couple of layers here. So kind of press that flat, maybe take your fingernail again to make it nice and strong. And then you're going to flip the paper over and take this edge and bring it to that crease line over there. And press that down too. When you unfold this, you can see that you've quartered this angle here. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 sections. And you're going to do that 7 more times. Once here, and then on each of those flaps to get that pre-creasing done. Open up. Take the edge, bring it to the crease line, and fold in half, and fold in half another time. Now the first triangle is done, and you can continue with the next one. Once you've got all that pre-creasing done, we can then start collapsing that pre-creasing. You can see here we've got a mountain fold, a valley fold, and a mountain fold, and we're going to go exactly along those. So the other parts are going to be in the wrong direction, and you have to change the direction. So we're going to kind of like a inside reverse fold, going to fold it up, then we're going to fold it down, and then we're going to fold up along that third crease. So now you have this very thin section rather than that whole triangle. And the next one, first fold up along that first crease, then back along the second crease, and again up along the third crease. And continue with the other 3 triangles. Now, once you've done all 4 sides, we can continue with the next step. We're going to take this edge and bring it to that raw edge right here. And we're going to crease about 2/3 or so. Doesn't have to be all the way. About to kind of, this is the midpoint and you want to go up until there about. And fold. Do the same thing on the other side. And then you're going to take that left point and swing it over. This crease is probably going to refold itself, which is what we want, and we can ensure this works correctly by kind of taking a finger and really pushing inside there, and then pushing that flat. There we go. Then we're going to rotate, then again take this edge to pre-crease, and the same thing on the other side. Pre-crease, and then bring that left point over, and this one pressed down, and you're going to hide that tip inside, again pushing in to make a nice precise tip here, and press down. And again, rotate, pre-crease the right, pre-crease the left, then hide that tip inside, push down the first pre-crease, push it in to make a nice precise tip, and push down. And one final time, pre-crease, pre-crease, hide the tip inside, and make a nice precise tip by pushing that paper nicely inside. Now the last tip right here is not locked, so we're going to insert it right in the place where kind of the other ones were put inside. So you can see there's this extra layer here, and it's underneath that. You can see that paper that's here is the white paper. That's one layer, and then here is a diagonal crease, which is kind of exactly that diagonal crease right here, this one right here. And you need to go underneath that, else there's not going to be enough space. So let me hide that inside. I hope I was able to show you clearly enough. So you're going to go inside there, on top of the layer above the white and underneath that other one. And then you should be able to easily push it inside. So I'm sorry I kind of made a couple of extra creases here, just because I really wanted to show you neatly. Then I'm going to now take these big corners here, and I'm going to fold the first one up, and then I'm going to take the next one, going clockwise this time, and push it in, and the next one, and crease it down, and the final one, and again crease it over. And as before, this one is not interlocked yet, but this time it's much easier. You basically have this layer right here, and you're just going to stick it underneath so that it comes through on the other side, and then you can push it all closed completely, perhaps kind of fiddle around with it a bit so you have a nice look in the end. And then your braided paper, designed by J.C. Nolan, is all done. Now this one I folded from translucent paper, and if you hold it to the light, it really looks spectacular. I'm really fond of this model because it's the first model I folded that J.C. Nolan designed back when I started a couple of years ago. And perhaps this is the first model you folded by J.C. Nolan, and perhaps you also fell in love with it just as much. And if you enjoyed this model, I can really recommend the book Creating Origami by J.C. Nolan. I hope you enjoyed this video, and happy folding!